Hello and welcome to the Adventures in Awakening show. I'm Tracya Spring, and this is the grand exploration of the depths of who you really are and the highest purpose of why you're here. And we do it in a fun and entertaining way. So come along with us on an adventure in awakening. And today we have a beautiful guest, Heather Hart. Heather, welcome to our program today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me,
glad you're
Tracya.
here.
It's a real pleasure and privilege to be here with you.
Oh, we're so grateful that you're here. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
Now, let me
too.
tell you a little bit about Heather Hart before we get started. Heather is a spiritual counselor, past life regression therapist, and she connects with angels and beings of light in the angelic realm. The doors were opened to the angelic realm for Heather in 2022 during a Vedic astrology reading. We'll tell you a little bit more about that a little later. Heather now gives angel readings to people all over the world who want to receive guidance and insight from the angels. In addition to giving angel readings, Heather loves working with people who want to have a real and true connection with the divine. So let us welcome the beautiful spiritual counselor, Heather Hart. Heather.
Thank you so much for that,
Once
Tracya.
again, so glad you're here. So I had the great privilege of first meeting Heather when I did her astrology reading.
You did. So you first gave me
Yes.
astrology reading, I think in 2017 or so. And it was really interesting. I cannot remember much from it, but what I can remember is that at the time you told me that my career wouldn't really move until I think the end of 22 or the start of 2023. And I remember that at the time because I was like, what? Like 5 years plus? No. And then when my life changed dramatically in August, September last year in 2022, I decided to get in touch with you again. And that was a pretty special Vedic astrology reading.
It was a special reading because we were looking at her chart and we were talking about different things. And I said, well, is there anything that you really like to do? And you said, oh, I like to connect with angels. And I'm like, okay, wow, okay. And then just as you said that, there was this intense energy that I could feel flowing through you. And I said, tell me more about that. And then this energy got stronger and stronger. And I thought, okay, have you done angel readings with others before? And you said, no, I just kind of do it for myself. And, and I said, well, would you like to do a reading for me right now? Would you like to just try that? Let's just give that a try, see what happens. And it was the most powerful transformational thing that I've ever been a part of, any kind of reading that I've ever been a part of. And so I said, my goodness, Heather, please share this gift with the world. That's such a gift. And since then, you've done more angel readings, and it's opened up this whole other area of your life where now you do angel readings for people all over the world, I understand.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, almost exclusively, yeah, on Zoom around the world. And I just want to send so much love and gratitude to you, Tracya, because when you said to me, okay, give me a reading from the angelic realm, a message from the angelic realm, I
Yes.
kind of froze like a a rabbit in the headlights. I was like, what? Oh no. But you were so generous with your spirit. You were like, no, it's just me and you, let's just do it. And so, I raised my vibration and I connected in, and I think it was Archangel Michael came through and had a little message there. And then when you said, okay, that was amazing. Now give me a full reading from the angelic realm. And I just kind of freaked out a little bit. I was like, well, okay, I was coming for you for this wonderful reading that you gave me of my Vedic astrology, but okay. And you were such an amazing container for holding that first experience for me of things coming through and then you asking questions, and it was just such a wonderful flow, and felt really amazing because I'd never even knew I had it in me to connect in that way, and to hold it. So thank you for opening that door.
Wow, I was so blown away. I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe that I was your first person, because it was already the ability was fully there. So it's like you had been doing it your whole life. And I'm sure you've been connecting your whole life. Can you tell us about how you first started to have that experience of connecting to angels, and when it first started in your life, and how that developed for your own self?
Yeah. So taking it right back, I grew up in a Baptist household, and I just loved talking to God. And I had a friend, and we used to pray together and talk to God. And but then I went overseas to Denmark as an exchange student, and it was just a completely different vibe. So coming from New Zealand in the late 1980s, think 1950s everywhere else, and going to Denmark, it really blew my spirituality out of the water, and I fell off the tracks, and I gave it all up, and I thought, wow, I've been conned all my life, and this isn't real, and threw it all out for 10 years or so. But the spiritual world kept calling to me, and I found a pamphlet in an organic shop that was talked about meditation. And I thought, well, I've heard that meditation is good for stress. So I started going along, and that really opened me up to my inner world. And that was kind of key to doing that. And I know you're a meditation teacher, so you've probably heard it many times, but I just learned so much about my inner world. And then there was a long journey that included, gosh, so many teachers and things. Really slowly, it was kind of like a spiritual course, designed by spirit, God, the angels, whatever you want to say. So, but a lot of that I did while I was still in the aviation industry. So I became a pilot. I did an aviation degree in New Zealand when I was
Wow.
19, and I became a flight instructor and did scenic tours and just little planes, little 152s,
Oh, so cool.
and Tomahawks, and yeah. And so I spent a lot of time in the aviation industry. I became a flight instructor, and then I left and I worked for Singapore Airlines in sales, and I moved on to working for our Civil Aviation Authority, which is like your FAA, and then our Ministry of Transport, and it just, lots of different things. But that road was taking me over here, and my spiritual road was taking me over here. And in the end, those two flows got too far apart. And I got a really strong sense that, and this grew as I became a consultant in the aviation industry. So I was consulting mainly to airports on aviation safety. And I just got a sense that was growing, that unless I jumped ship and went onto the spiritual flow, that something really serious was going to happen.
Oh,
And so that gave me the impetus to leave the aviation industry and get into the spiritual flow. So I'll just tell you a funny little
wow.
story about that. So
Yes.
I had learned through with Brian Weiss and Denise Lynn how to do past life regressions. And so I decided to do a hypnotherapy course to get better at it. And I went on this hypnotherapy course while I was still consulting in aviation. And I thought, right, this is just a small course. There's only 15 people here. I'm going to be brave and say that I want to get better at past life regressions. So I said it out loud. I thought, yay, I'm so brave. And then I went out a week or so later to have lunch with the head of the Aviation Airports Association of New Zealand. So the guy who knows all of the airports, all of the managers and everything. And I was doing some work for him. So we had lunch. And he said, oh, so what have you been up to lately, Heather? And I was like, well, a bit of this, bit of that. And it turned out that his son was also studying hypnotherapy and was in that course.
No,
So
really?
at lunch, I was kind of like outed. I was outed, and I had to just own up and say, yeah, this is what I've been doing to the executive of the Airports Association. So that we had a laugh about that, and his secretary was also there, and she was quite interested. But that enabled me to say, right, it's there. My reputation is sort of, done. So that gave me the impetus to get off and to start the spiritual flow. And that's when I started doing past life regressions for people, and did the spiritual counseling and other things. So yeah.
Wonderful. Quite a story, quite a journey to
Yeah.
get right here. And so when did you realize that the voices you were hearing or the messages were from angels? Like, how did you make that association?
That's a good question. I when I have my process of raising my vibration, when I connect with the angels, it's like there is a change in atmosphere. And it's like I move from the 3D world, and because I'm connecting in, that the energy is starting to flow, and I'm starting to cry. And I just, as you know, Josiah, when I connect with that energy, it sort of overwhelms my physicality in some way, and it looks like I'm crying, but it's just my way of, and I am crying, but it's just my way of the energy field processing that energy. So I can feel the change in vibration, and I can sense a beautiful crystalline clear light that is gentle and soft and like chimes. And at that point I know that I'm in the angelic realm. Let me just get my tissues. Yeah, and so that's how I know I'm connecting in.
And so when did you first have that experience specifically of the angelic realm?
Well, with you.
Really? Seriously?
With you. Yeah, that was previously to that. And this is so interesting, Josiah. I suddenly realized after our session that I had been doing some automatic typing with the angels. And I looked back, and I had done it a year previously, towards the end of 2021. And it was fascinating. They said to me as I was automatic typing, and that felt more like just hearing what they were saying to me, typing it out. So it was a different kind of a vibe when I'm doing automatic typing. But they said, we want to work with you. We're going to do this. They gave me a list of the angels that were going to work with me. They showed me a book that was like the Book of Life, but it's the angelic Akashic record. And I was reading this stuff that I had typed a year before and had completely forgotten. I'd forgotten it. I mean, how do you forget stuff like that? I just so that was really a little bit shocking to me, but to reread some of the stuff. And then I thought, wow, I have to keep on going with this. This is something really important happening here.
So it all unfolded perfectly. You were
It all
supposed to have that
perfectly,
meeting with me, and I was supposed to say, okay, come on.
Yeah.
And then it was supposed to open up. Oh my gosh, isn't that so exciting?
And it was your challenge. It was
That's
your
right.
challenge to me to do it. It was kind of like you
It
were
was.
with the
like,
impetus
come
to
on,
sort of give me
you
that
can do
shove
it.
up.
You can do it. I was your cheerleader. Come on, come on.
My coach.
Your coach. And here you are, months later, and you've done many readings now, and I've heard wonderful things from people who've had readings with you, and I know that I've had subsequent readings as well, other new readings, and every time I have a reading with you, it just opens up a whole new way of looking at things, and a new just new possibilities for my life. And I come away feeling, oh, so much more is possible than I thought. Oh, it's so powerful. I cannot recommend Heather Hart's readings highly enough. If you get an opportunity to do an angel reading with Heather, it's just transformational, life-changing, so fundamentally life-changing that it just has uplifted my life. I've had new opportunities come into my life and into my world in surprising ways. And I think her readings were guiding me in that direction. So I think Heather is just so gifted and a blessing for all of us. So thank you, Heather. And I'm so glad that you've been doing that. And because I know it's probably not easy to start doing that and say, hey, I talk to angels, and you'd be opening yourself up for all sorts of people saying lots of things. So it took courage. It takes courage for you to do that.
Thank you for acknowledging that. And I hope that if there's anybody out there who's in a corporate, role where, your reputation is really important, and you're kind of trying to hide your spiritual life from doing that, I hope that please get in touch with me, and I'd love to support you, because I know it's a difficult transition to make, but I can tell you that the lack of meaning that I felt in the corporate world, this whole new spirituality, even if it doesn't appear straight away, if you just keep on following your path, following what interests you and what you'd like to do, then it's all going to unfold for you as well. So
beautiful, beautiful. And tell us, Heather, your websites, and we will be putting that below as well. Tell us your website for people to get in contact with you.
It's simply Heather Hart, one word. So Hart is HART .nz. Or
.nz for New Zealand. That's
Yeah.
right. Heather comes from New Zealand. Isn't that just the coolest thing? So good. So is there anything else that you want to share about your journey, or, anything else that's led you to this time of being open to the angels?
I just really want to encourage people, if it seems like you're just trudging with spirituality, like you're trying to hear them, or you're trying to open your clairvoyance or your intuition, and you keep on doing courses and nothing much happens, and the doors don't open. I really encourage you to just keep going, to have the faith that, I think John Holland said once, that when the time's ready, the rose blooms. And I think it's so true. That was completely out of the blue with me and you, and that Vedic session. And, that other saying about when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So I'd really want to send that message that to keep on going, and to notice those little things that happen all the time, the insight, the vision that you might get, and to write those down. For me, going back to the writings was a big deal, because for some reason I didn't remember. I didn't remember it. So so try your automatic writing, your automatic typing. I know that there are some big movements to really get people to do that. Do your chanting. Just be in the flow of trust and faith, and just enjoying the moment, and your life will change.
Beautiful, beautiful. When you went back to those writings, were you surprised at how it unfolded since then?
Yes, I was completely shocked. I just thought at the time that I was writing them, oh, those are nice words, la la la. and then Christmas came up and a whole bunch of things happened. So but it was when I went back that they really sunk in, and I was like, wow, those are really amazing words that they were telling me. And so this is what I encourage people to do when they have readings, is to go back to it, a few days or a week or whatever, and re-listen to it, and there'll be new messages in there. The words will have new meaning. And because sometimes when people have readings, it can be a bit overwhelming. There's a lot of information, there's a lot coming through, and so to have that gap enables it to kind of all integrate and sink in.
Beautiful, beautiful. I did the same with the reading that I first had with you. I went back and I listened to it again. I would ask a question and they would say, oh, certain things. And I think, well, I don't know about that. But then over time, it was like, oh, yes, that was the best thing. Oh, yes.
Exactly. That's
And so
exactly the
it
process,
surprised me. Yes, yes,
Yeah, exactly. So, so for today, for people who are listening, perhaps when you first hear it, you go, "Oh, yes, everybody's saying that. Those are just nice words or whatever."
yes,
Perhaps come and have another look a little bit
yes,
later and just see, because
yes.
the angels never tell people what to do. They never tell people exactly what. We all have free will, and so we can do whatever we want to do. But it's that new energy that comes in. It's that new inspiration, or that support or reassurance or whatever, that can help relax the mind and allow those new doors to open. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, we might be ready for a little angel session now. Is everybody ready for this? It's pretty wonderful and amazing. So, and Heather, are you ready for
Sure,
doing this?
sure.
Perhaps what I would love to do is to just ask the angels if they have a message for everyone in the world, because there's so many things going on in the world, turmoil, ups and downs. And what is the message for everyone in the world that can help us to understand this? Is it for a good reason? What is the reason? And what can we all kind of hold on to for the positive side of what's going on?
Beautiful. So I will do my little process, which is basically about
Please.
raising my vibration up
Yes, take
there,
your
and
time.
I will have it in my intention to address everyone who's going to listen to this, who's listening shortly after we do it, or any time in the future, and is bring in the angels to surround all of us
Beautiful,
as we
beautiful,
do this.
beautiful.
So I'll just take a few moments to do that, and we'll see what happens.
Yay.
Okay, so the first thing that I'm getting is a beautiful angel of so much light. I can't actually make out any features. She feels very, very feminine. She's coming with such a clear, beautiful light, and it's a light that is encoded with love. And she really wants this light to come down and to surround you, Trizai, and every single person who will be listening to this. If you just imagine a beautiful, clear, pristine, pure light of the divine essence, of the angel essence, coming directly from the angelic realm down, falling upon every single person who ever listens to this recording. And it's a beautiful light of calm, of reassurance, of clarity, so that you can really connect in with yourself and to know the truth for yourself. The angels want to speak to every single one of you, and they want to speak to every single one of you directly. So this beam of light that is shining down on every single person listening to this is a beam of direct connection to the angelic realm for yourself, so that you can contact that place within you that is crystal clear and pure and loving and innocence, the source light, the God light, the divine light within you that gives you life, that gives you love, that gives you purpose, that is the reason that you are here, to light up that place inside of you and to unlock that wisdom, that clarity, that guidance for yourself, with the angels with you. And this is even more powerful if you call in the angels for yourself and ask the angels to surround you and bring in the qualities that you need in this moment. Do you need clarity? Do you need support? Do you need the love of the angels? Do you need to feel the angels surrounding you with their wings and holding you in love, holding you and allowing your burdens to ease? And now I hear the angels singing. They have beautiful, literally angelic voices that can sometimes sound like chimes. And so I want each one of you to imagine that the angels are singing for you. You have your angels here with you right now, and it's your angels specifically here for your life. They know you, they know purpose, your purpose here. They are your friends from your spiritual home who have been given the mission to help you in your life right now. And so I hope that you can really sense that beautiful divine angelic light of whatever color, purity, white light, crystalline clear. Perhaps it's a different color for you. Perhaps it's a feel or an energy, or perhaps you feel like you're just making it up, and that's perfect. Use your imagination. If you're not feeling anything, that's completely fine. You can just imagine it. You could draw it. You could just pretend that it's true. And that opens the door for it to be true, because your angels are truly with you now, here to help you, here to help you get into that beautiful place inside yourself and to open that door, because they want to help you. They're here to help you. And all you have to do is just open that door to them.
Beautiful.
Okay, and so now, is there any question, Trezias? Sorry, this is Heather again. You're going to have to ask me the question so I can connect in.
Okay, good. Do we have to ask for help from the angels for them to give us help in our life?
There are times for people who are in imminent danger, or who are in a situation where their life is about to take a turn that takes them off their path that they're meant to be on, where the angels will directly intervene. And when that happens, people can be helped on the side of the road. A stranger can come and help them if there's somebody scary nearby, something like that. They can do that. But what they're telling me is that, and I tell this to almost everybody who's doing an angel reading with me, is that one of my favorite angel people in the world is an Irish lady called Lorna Boone. And she has seen angels since she was a little baby. And she talks about the unemployed angels, that there are angels all around us all the time, but we do need to ask for help. So how many of us have asked for like the parking angel or the parking goddess to get us a park or something like that? But they're here for so much more. You know, angels, help me with this meeting. Help me with this meeting with my boss, that I can stay, you know, focused and unemotional, and for the best outcome to happen. You know, angels, help me to get to this place on time. Angels, help me to write this report or to do this exam, or, you know, they're there for us, but they also won't intervene in those ways unless we actually bring them in.
So what will be the best way to ask them? Is there a certain way that we should be asking?
No, as soon as I ask that question, I just hear the angels laughing. They just laugh. They're like, no, there's no special way. It can just, you don't even have to address them as angels. You're just in your mind, help me, please help me.
Okay.
Or even better, and I do both of these things, you know, thank you for helping me. You know, when you say thank you for helping me, something in you opens up to the possibility of being helped. You know, sometimes we can ask for help, but if we have an inner program running saying, I never get helped, I have to do this on my own, that's somewhere deep in your subconscious, then they're kind of like going to cancel each other out. And so you're forever asking and never receiving. So the idea then is to say, you know, thank you for helping me. Although I sometimes say, please help me with this, help for the best possible outcome to happen. Thank you for for clearing the way to the best possible outcome to happen.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, that's powerful just to know that the angels are right there. And if we just ask, that they will be helping us with what we need. Such a beautiful, beautiful, powerful thing. I work with people to help them to connect to their soul. How are angels different than our soul self?
So this is the great spiritual teaching of the individual at one level being also part of the oneness at another level. And so in our soul space, we have agreed to come down and incarnate in this place and have the veil fall over us so that we feel like we are just ourselves and we are separate and are perhaps feeling very alone in the world. Sorry, I'm just getting the right words. And so the angelic realm is at a higher level of oneness, at a greater level of oneness. And so there is us, our personalities, our bodies that belong to the earth and will go back to the earth. Then we have our souls, and we are all beautiful lights as part of our soul self, which is what you're asking them to connect into, which is beautiful. And then further out from that, this is all part at the end of the oneness. And so the angels aren't really separate from us. You could consider each one of us as an angelic self, because we have the sliver of the source self within us. So that which powers the angels is the same which powers us, which is the source. And so, or whatever you want to call it, the universe, God, the greater self, the oneness, whatever your tradition says, or however you can envisage that or imagine that. And so it's not out there, it's in here. And so from in here is where our direct line, our direct connection is, while we're feeling alone, while we're feeling separate, while we are playing with the illusion that we are, at the same time, there is all this other things there that are for us. So each and every one of us is an angel, has an angelic self. And that's how the communication happens.
Beautiful. And so there are different levels of energy, would you say? So the physical body is that dense, condensed energy. The soul is, that more subtle energy. And angels would be even more subtle energy than that, would you say? And then like the divine realm, the angelic kingdom, is a more subtle energy level. And then the oneness would be the underlying energy level that underlies everything.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And as I said before, that the angels can come in and can appear to people in this realm, either as their angelic selves, or they can actually appear as people as well. And apparently the way to ascertain whether somebody is really an angel, Lorna Byrne says to have a look at them. Do their eyes shine brighter than usual? Do they look really, do they have beautiful skin? Do they look kind of like a human being, but a little bit more than a human being? And that's the way, that some people can tell if they're actually being helped by an angel. Do you feel really, if these are for people who have seen angels, or angels have come into their life to help in some way, they feel relaxed around them. They feel like, oh, a friend and a deep helper is here. And other people have seen angels come in their full angel form when they've been praying. So they can come in many, many different forms, but it's always in a beautiful way, and always for the to help people fulfill their mission, or to give them upliftment, or to open a door.
Beautiful, beautiful. So they actually do take a human form if they're helping someone out of a difficult situation, like
Yeah,
if
for example,
imminent danger.
I was reading about a woman who had a very, very traumatic birth, and she had very, very small veins. And when the ambulance arrived, she needed to tell them, I need a butterfly thing here, because you won't get a full needle. But she was just in such a state. She was in a really, really bad way. And there was somebody who came out of the ambulance, a paramedic, and but he was dressed in like khaki shorts and a white shirt, but she knew that he was a doctor and a paramedic. And he was saying to the other paramedic, she needs a butterfly
Oh,
needle,
wow.
and helping
Wow.
her and soothing her and holding her hand. And then as soon as she got to the hospital, he just vanished, and nobody
Wow.
knew who he was or where he came from.
Wow.
So in circumstances like that, where your life is in danger, or you are meant to carry on for whatever reason, they can come down, and they have many times. There's many,
Wow.
many, many stories about angels doing that, so they can do it. Yeah.
Wow. I have a question about a personal incident that I might have had angels help. Can I ask that question?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. And I
Um,
should, you probably realize already, but I have my eyes closed a lot of the time to
that's
just,
that's great.
strengthen my
Yes.
connection. So,
Whatever your
yeah.
process is, we honor your process. It's a beautiful process. Beautiful process. Um, when I was younger, I was in a car with my mother driving and two of my sisters. I was sitting in the back seat. I must have been about 15 or so. And we were driving along a road that was icy. And then suddenly one of the tires blew out, and my mother started to turn the wheel this way. We kind of slid from side to side in the road. And we were on a country road, and there was very deep ditches on either side and trees, forests on either side. And so like deep ditches, like 20 feet deep. And so we were going from side to side, and suddenly it went very quiet in the car. And then our car took off and flew off the road. It flipped over. It flew off the road just at the part where there was no trees, because it had been trees all along. It flipped over, landed in a pond. So it was a soft landing on the roof, and we
Wow.
were all fine. No injuries whatsoever. And we flew, and they landed, and it was about 20 feet deep, the ditch that we flew into, and landed on the ditch. And none of us had seatbelts on. We flying around the car, and we landed, and we were all fine. It was a miracle. And I just wonder where it just felt like angels kind of held us
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
put us down. And I just wonder.
Yeah. As soon as you started talking about that, I saw angels at the four corners of the car,
Oh,
and they were flying alongside the car, and they were holding it, and they were supporting you. And as that was happening, they were wrapping their angel wings around you to
wow.
to protect you all. Yeah, because that was one of those times where they were sent by God to support you, because there was so much more that each of you had to do in your life. And so they were holding you and protecting you.
Wow. Oh, that's.
And when you felt that, when you heard that quietness happen in the car, that was when they really stepped in forward, and it's almost as if the car went into the whole situation went into an altered state, if you will. It was almost as if it went into almost like a different dimension, where the angels could support you as they went through and hold you all.
It absolutely went into slow motion.
Yeah.
It absolutely went in silence and slow motion. We all felt the same thing afterwards. We said it suddenly went into slow motion, and it was like a light. It was like very light, you know. And then when we touched down, it was like a soft landing. It was a soft landing. It wasn't a big crash. It wasn't, you know. So my gosh,
Mm.
how amazing!
Mm.
How amazing.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah. So you've
gosh,
had
angels, thank
your
you.
very own
Thank you.
angelic experience where they
Wow.
saved all of your lives
Wow.
and your physical body as well.
Wow.
And that was because
Wow.
that was not meant to be on your path to go through a you know, a healing experience like that.
Wow. And we're all
Mm.
still alive today, many,
Yeah.
many years later. So we've all had very full lives
Mm.
because of that.
Yeah.
So,
And
wow,
that
what
was
an
what was meant to
amazing,
be. That was your path and your mission.
wow.
Mm.
So we could have all gone that day. We could have perished,
Mhm.
but we actually almost had a second chance, right?
Mhm.
To live our
Mhm.
life.
Mhm.
Wow, how glorious.
Mm.
I'm going to have to share that with my sisters and my mom. Tell them
Yeah.
about that. What an
Yeah.
amazing thing.
Mm.
Whew. I invite everybody listening to think about incidents in their own life. Have you ever had a time where it felt like a miracle that you survived or that you got help in a miraculous way or an angelic way? Think back on your life. You may be surprised by an incident that actually was helped by angels. And beautiful, beautiful. Whew. Have you had an incident, Heather, in your life where you feel like angels were there to help you?
Um, yes, I think I've had several. I wasn't spiritual at that time, but I have had several incidences where something far more serious could have happened. You know, car crashes. For example, I was in university studying my aviation degree actually, and I had to drive early in the morning from one part of town to another part. And in those days, I was driving around my granddad's old Avenger. Uh, so again, this is in the very early 90s, and I was driving around without a seatbelt on because we were still able to do that back
That's
then, if
right.
you could
I
imagine
remember.
it.
I
And I
remember.
was just driving along, and I thought to myself, oh, I might see a cop, so I just put my seatbelt on. And I believe that that was, you know, that was
The
a message. And I
angel.
put my seatbelt on, and then I went round a corner and sun came out from behind a building and scattered across my windscreen, and I was temporarily blinded. And before I could put my foot on the brake, I had gone through a stop sign onto the only 4-laned road in that town. And I went straight out in front of a guy who had just bought a brand new ute, which is a truck, and and he hit me behind um, behind the driver's seat. So I just got far enough, and then I spun around across 4 lanes and hit a power pole, and the
Oh,
entire
wow.
windscreen bashed out. But
Wow.
I was completely fine, but I wouldn't have been if I didn't have that seatbelt on. So I believe that that was one of those times when they were holding me. And there was another time where I almost drowned. I was tipped upside down and held upside down in a rubber thing. And at that point, I was strapped in and I couldn't get strapped out. And I felt something underneath me lift me up enough to get a breath before I was
Oh,
sucked back
wow.
down again. And then finally, the people who were running this tour group managed to get me up and get me flipped over the right way.
Wow.
So, yeah, you know, I think I have
Wow.
had a couple of interventions then. And people, when you read people about people who've had near-death experiences, what they see in their lives are different places where they could have exited, you
Oh,
know. And I'm
really?
sure that everybody listening to this can probably think of a time where, oh yeah, I could have actually died then, but I didn't, or I was thinking of, you know, suicide or something like that, but something happened to intervene. So we all kind of have these points where we could have exited, and from our human selves we don't know any better, but from our soul self there is some kind of decision being made about what our lives are, which direction they're unfolding, and can we fulfill our mission? And so those will either take those or we won't. Yeah. So no, I do feel there was some direct intervention a couple of times at least. Yeah.
Wow. And so, um, I guess the people that have lived for, 50, 60 years, they've had a number of times when they could have gone and the soul decided that it would like to stay. And then there's times when, okay, we're done. Some people leave younger and they go. And how is all that decided? How is our time of death decided?
The time of death is decided by the soul, in conjunction with, it's always the soul's decision. It's always the soul's decision, but it is made in conjunction with higher guidance. So some people call that your counsel, usually around 10 or 12 beings of light that you can talk to, as well as the oneness. And so when we incarnate, we come with a mission. We don't just come down and just like, great, here, off we go. We always come with a mission, and that is decided in pre-life planning. What you are here for, what you want to do, who's going to help you, who are you going to meet, what are you trying to achieve? And that is completely different usually to what our ego wants, which is, I want money, I want a fabulous partner, I want a great car, I want a nice life. These are all the things that the ego wants. The soul wants spiritual growth. The soul wants to open more and more to love and to be creative. And that is the whole point of it, is to add to the oneness, to grow the oneness, so that we are creating something new. But we always come in with a mission. And so the exit points are times where it is, the decision is made by the soul in conjunction, and also with the final say by source, by God, by Allah, by the oneness, whatever you want to call that. And so our lives are very, very precious. They're not something that's kind of like, I've had enough of this. And people can obviously pull the plug themselves. People do commit suicide when it becomes overwhelming. And there is no judgment from that on the other side. Okay, we bit off more than you can chew there. Help would have come, but that's okay. You couldn't manage it, and you moved on. There's no judgment there. But it does interrupt the plan, because you coming into your life, everybody listening in their own lives have come in with a plan, with a mission, with things to do, and it does interrupt that. So you might have to come back again. And
so your soul chooses, before we have this human experience, the soul chooses what the human part of the soul is going to be going through. So it's choices made about what we're going to be faced.
Yeah,
and who we're
but
gonna...
it's also, there are destiny points in life. So I'm just checking in with the angels, want to say anything. There are destiny points in life where things must happen, but then there are other points in life where it can be negotiated with other souls. So Robert Schwartz and your soul's plan, your soul's gift has written a lot about this, where there can be times where you say to another soul, okay, I really want to come into your life and help you explore this, but I can't do that unless you've done this beforehand. So it's kind of, there's a negotiation there between other souls as well, because we're not here alone. So other souls have got their own missions and things like that. But there are destiny points where you will meet people, and there, for whatever reason, if you have come into your life with a soul desire to learn to forgive, then there's got to be somebody else in your life that is going to come in and do something unforgivable to you. And the harder it is to forgive, the more unforgivable it is, the greater your mastery, the greater your desire to want to master, forgiveness. And so Robert Schwartz writes delightfully. He's worked with all sorts of other clairvoyants and people who can actually hear these pre-life plannings happening. And it's quite an astonishing process. So yeah, so if it's not going to plan, things can change here. You know, everybody's got free will. A lot of the spiritual teaching at the moment, hold on a sec, they want to come in. So the angels want to talk now about how there is new energy hitting the field. There's new energy that is coming from source that is surrounding the whole world in a completely different way. And this energy is it does have an angelic essence to it. And what has been decided in source is that we need to move on from this trajectory that we are in. We need to change. We need to lighten up. And the angels laugh if they say that, because they love having puns. Lighten up, you know, literally. And so what that is doing is changing some of the what we in human terms would call the time frame. So there's no time over there, but things are changing a little bit because we've got to move on and to meet the new vibration of this new energy. And so a lot of people's stuff is being activated right now, stuff that you thought you'd dealt with, old feelings, negative feelings are really being amplified so that they can come up, be dealt with, and be released, so that we can really absorb this new energy. And it's creating all sorts of chaos everywhere as everybody's stuff is coming up to become up and come out. And it's creating all sorts of I'm seeing little volcanoes going off everywhere, not just in the human emotional sphere, although that's where it comes out most strongly, but also in the world sphere itself, as the earth itself, as she wants to grow and move on as well. And so there are all sorts of things happening in the earth. There are the earthquakes, there are the big things that are happening with climate change. So all of this is creating a lot of what looks like chaos and suffering and destruction, both in the external environment and around the world, but also in our very own lives, in our very own beings. All of these eruptions of big emotions. But the angels are coming down in force to be around us as we do this, and they really want us to not try to suppress these big emotions that are coming up, not try and suppress the anger and the rage and the frustration and everything else that comes up. They want us to embrace it and to say, there you are, it's okay, I see you. You're allowed to be here. You're allowed to be what you need to be, because they say to imagine it as if these big eruptions are a message. And the message is that there is something within you that hasn't been heard, that's not been heard or taken seriously. And so these big eruptions come up, and they're asking you to allow them to stand in front of you and hold that energy. For example, if you are feeling outraged about something, allow that outrage to come out and imagine an angel in front of you who's going to hold that outrage for you. And you can just see and look at it and say, oh, my human self is feeling a lot of outrage right now. And look at it. It feels really spiky and dead and horrible. And as the angel holds that energy, you can see it kind of relax. You can see that it's okay that it's there. And then you can ask it, what do you really need? What do you really want? And beneath that, you will find something beautiful. You will find something like, I really just want peace. I really just want freedom. I really just, whatever it is, there's something underlying that. And that is what you can get to. That's what the message is behind the explosion. And when you can get to that place, that's when the angels can come in and just put their hands on your heart and say, we see that, we understand that. And that is what aligns you to this new vibration, this new energy that's coming through, that's going to lift you up and change your life.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so
And so me, Heather, I'm sort of so pleased to hear that, because there are many teachers who are teaching this message at the moment. This is a very common message in many different forms, including a little course that I myself am taking at the moment, where it's a very what they were talking about there is a tool that some of you may have come across in a therapeutic situation, where you can back out of something and just look at it objectively, and then find out what the message is, what it's really trying to tell you underneath that. And it could be anything from, I need a new job, I need a new relationship, I need a new living situation. It's your true self calling to you about what you really need.
beautiful. And so all of this stuff going on in the world, earth things that are going on, the climate things that are going on, all the turmoil in different political situations, all of that is, and in individuals' lives, you talk to a lot of people and a lot of things are going on. That is just the old, darker energy coming up to the light to be healed and released and let go. And so what is this new energy for the earth? Do we have a vision of what this new energy will be creating on earth? What is the new earth vision?
The new earth vision is for us to come into our true selves, is for us to truly integrate the spiritual self with the human self. The human self is never wrong. The human self is innocent. The human self is processing big emotions, big pain, big things that have happened to it. And the human mind is completely overwhelmed by it, because it was never designed to be in these relentless situations that we're in. And so it gets overwhelmed and tight and tired and aggressive. And so what the new energy wants to do is to surround the human system, surround the human heart, surround the human mind, surround the human cells, and remind the human self of what it truly is, what the true essence is, a true light within, that we are these spiritual beings. We are these angels that have come down into this body, and to relax and calm all of this really deep emotional energy, to stop going from these highs and lows, from the high of, yes, I won, we won the game or whatever, to, oh my God, my life is falling apart and I'm desperate. The material mind likes to go to these places, but the purpose of the new energy is to come in and to start soothing the earth, like a beautiful divine balm, to come in and to soothe the earth. And I just see this beautiful image of the earth being surrounded like an angelic atmosphere to come in to help soothe everyone, and to get us as a collective back on track. So far, we've been given a lot of leeway to really take it there. If somebody wants to engage in power, they can really take it there. They can create war, they can overtake social media and manipulate everybody's mindset. They can do that. But this new energy is going to make that unsustainable, is going to make it so that all of this comes up into the light, and for all of us, every single one of us, to come back into our heart essence, our true essence, and to do exactly what you do with people, Josiah, which is to connect them back on with their soul. And so if you imagine that beautiful soul light surrounding and supporting the human mind. So now the human mind is making a decision with very limited information and very limited access. It's almost as if your human mind operating by itself is like searching for something on your hard drive, on your computer. Whereas when you're connected with the soul and with your divine self, your spirit self, then you're connected in with the internet. Then you're connected in with the guidance and what would be in your very best interest from a beautiful, loving, all-knowing, all-wise presence. And the angels are saying, and we are here to help. I just got this big thing. We are here to help you. You do have help. Even if you feel all alone in the world, you do have help. The angels are right here with you, wanting to help. And if you call out for them and be like, yeah, I've been asking for help for years and years and years and nothing's happened. Take a moment to think about surrendering and opening. Instead of trying to still work from your limited human mind, it's a heart opening. It's an allowing. It's a letting go. It's a going with the flow rather than paddling to try and find your own means. And that will allow the magic and the miracles to start happening in your life.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I've been told that we each have our own guardian angel or 2 guardian angels. Can you tell us about that?
So Lorna Byrne says, because she sees them, that we each have a guardian angel. And that guardian angel is a gift from God. And they come and they stand behind us. And their role is to only interfere when there's something really serious happening. But they are there and they encourage us. And she says that their focus is 100% on you all the time.
Oh,
they
boy.
never take their focus on you for 1 single second.
Wow.
So, you and I are talking, my guardian angel will be there completely focused on me. Your guardian angel will be, they don't, they don't talk with each other or whatever. And the purpose of the guardian angel is to collect your soul and to make sure that your soul returns to God safely. So I think that that's beautiful and a lovely thing to connect in with. And she knows when people, if they're suicidal, because their soul moves, their guardian angel moves right into their body and surrounds their soul, like the angels come right around to hold right in their beingness. Whereas we always have the soul there, but the guardian angel is stepping back. So I don't when I work with people and the guardian angels come through, I just get a blast of light, of big light behind them. So they're huge. From my perspective, Lorna Byrne sees them and she sees them changing form depending on what's happening for you. Like if you're learning to run, they'll be in front of you, sort of come on, they'll be always supporting you. Wouldn't you love to see that? I would love to see that.
That would be great.
But when I connect into the realm and I see a guardian angel, all I see is this massive like sun of light, white light behind a person, and they don't necessarily talk that often. It's more of a feeling. So yes, so I think we definitely do have guardian angels. Lots of people have had near-death experiences, are met by angels and beings of light, and have angels escorting them. So we definitely do. They're definitely here. They're definitely here to help us. And I listen to a lot of people who have had near-death experiences, because you can really feel the energy, and they absolutely know that they're there. And I do too from the work that I do with people. You can trust the invisible.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Say that again.
You can trust the invisible.
Beautiful, beautiful. And is it the same with guardian angels, that you can ask for their help Like if you
Oh,
need help, ask for
absolutely.
your own guardian angel, or then
Yep.
ask other angels
Yep.
that are around. So you can ask
Yes,
both.
yes. Ask all the angels. And if you can't, if you've got a specific thing that you need help with, then ask for the angel of that. You know?
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, that's cool.
but otherwise just ask the angels, send angels to other people.
Yes, yes,
Pray for
yes,
the angels to be with other people. There was a
yes.
recent near-death experience that I listened to, where the guy was in an operation. He was up on the ceiling, he was looking down, and he could see angels around him, and the angels were overshadowing the surgeon and putting their and helping guide his or her
Wow.
hands to do what they needed to do. So,
Wow.
pray for others, pray for the angels to be with them, pray for the angels to be with you. Talk to your guardian angel. Guardian angel, please have your wings around me tonight and help me sleep.
Mm.
She's Lorna Bird's written a beautiful book for children called My Guardian Angel, My Best Friend.
Oh,
To help them connect in, to help them at school,
oh, that's
that
beautiful.
type of thing. So yeah, talk with them, engage, and if things don't seem to be happening the way you want them to happen, they will be done. And create a space in your heart for them to come in and work with you. They really want to be here. They see our need for help so clearly. All
Mm.
they really want, their whole mission in life, is to really support us in this incredible adventure that we're going on. Every single person who is here, they're telling me, is so brave, is so courageous to leave the oneness of light and love and joy and to come down into this limited space to, sorry, the energy is really overwhelming,
Beautiful.
to come down to this earth where we are alone and terrible stuff happens to us, and we move through that and we heal and we learn to love ourselves and we learn that we are innocent still, and we learn to forgive ourselves and to forgive others, and this grows the oneness and makes it so beautiful. And so they really honor us and they are here for us and they want to help us in whatever way they can.
And so, what can we do to awaken more to our real purpose here, to connect more with our soul, connect more with the angels, awaken to the oneness? What can we do to become more illumined in ourselves?
What I'm saying is, they're saying to connect in with your own heart. Your own heart is a beautiful source of guidance, of love, to open the doors to loving ourselves, to loving these bodies that we're in, to loving our emotions no matter what comes up, to loving our mind, to having self-compassion. And this really affects the energy field around you. And then after that, you can do that, work with somebody like you, Trizaya, or the many, many other courses there that are helping you to extend your awareness, starting from within. It starts from within because we have everything here within us. And then sending your awareness out to your soul, to that energy that holds all the answers, that knows everything. And this will allow the mind to relax. Once the mind realizes that it doesn't have to do everything by itself, that everything that can be okay, to release the material world, to release the need to have more and more things, because now the wealth is within you. The wealth is that light. The strength is that light. The guidance is there. So they're saying, do what your heart would love to do. Do what your heart would love to do. Ask your heart, your inner child, whatever, to, what would you love to do today? How can I support you? Go and play. Go and have an ice cream. Do something that you love to do. Take yourself off and read a book. Sit underneath a tree. Talk to the angels. Take a deep breath in. Imagine that you are back in heaven, and take a deep breath of that heavenly air. and allow it to fill every soul, just nourishing you as if you were just under a beautiful sky, and then just let it go, just one breath. I could go on and on and on for, for hours about all the ideas that they have, but it's all about the beautiful things that we can do for ourselves. Look at a flower, smile at a stranger, smell a flower, listen to your favorite music, have a dance in your kitchen or anywhere, just move and really appreciate the humanness for what it is, because what they're saying to me is it doesn't last forever, and this is such a gift. And it feels sometimes, if life is really bad, that it goes on and on and on, it's just miserable. They're saying we're here, it's not, life was not meant to be that way, but even if it is, it's just a flicker in the eternity from where you live. Each one of us is eternal light, eternal love. And so they're saying, imagine a heaven where there's nothing but flowers in every direction, and the flowers are beautiful and they last forever and ever and ever. But then you have a beautiful flower that lasts, blooms, and dies. How precious is that flower? How precious is that flower that only comes and then goes and is beautiful? And that's what our human life is to them on the other side. So
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh my gosh. So many beautiful messages today. So many beautiful messages. I just had one more question. Our soul self is what chose this life experience, then our human body, mind, this particular human body vehicle is created for this particular lifetime. And the soul is in charge, but then there is free will for the human body mind. Can you explain a little more how that works? Because if the soul is in charge, how can the human body mind also have free will?
So what they're showing me is the image of a parent with a child. And so the parent is in charge, right? But they don't move the child's hands for them. They don't move the child's feet for them. They're not in that kind of charge. They lovingly overlook the child, and they allow the child to fall down. They allow the child to try things and to fail. They allow the child to do all sorts of things as long as it's not going to harm them, or in any real kind of lasting way. Obviously the analogy only goes so far because a soul is with us the whole time, whereas a parent not. But that's the kind of visualization that I'm seeing. So so the soul has come in to experience limitation and to bring the energy of the soul gradually down into the human, so that it can be what it is, what it truly is, which is the human self supported by and loved by the soul self. So the human self does things, reacts in certain ways, has certain experiences, and they are all gold for the soul self. They are all valuable for the soul self to understand that, even if it's just to have deep compassion, to grow the soul's compassion for the human lifetime, perhaps of suffering and deep things happening. But there is a mystery there as well. There is a mystery and a miracle behind it. And I'm not getting too much more in this space. It seems like another adventure in spirit there. But there is something, I just got the sense of the magic and the miracle of the human self as it crashes around, as it does things, as we hurt each other unintentionally, as we love each other, as we have all these experiences, there is such a magic happening there that is beyond our knowing. That is beyond our knowing, that is adding so much to the oneness.
Hmm. Hmm. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All of this helps to understand ourselves and our purpose here a little more, and that helps on so many levels, I find, for myself. So, Heather, wow. I'm sure all our listeners are going, wow, right now. It was so extraordinary. All of the things that came through. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Are there any last little bits of wisdom that the angels would like to give us for this particular session? And we hope to do this again soon.
The first words I heard were remember us and call us in. And then after that, I'm hearing the angels sing, and I'm hearing the angels sing for every single person who listens to this call, a beautiful song that they are singing just for you. And it's so beautiful. Oh my God. It's a beautiful
Wow.
sound of thousands of angels
Wow.
singing just for you.
Wow. Can you sing it, Heather? Can you sing it?
If I wish that you could hear what I'm hearing, because it's a beautiful song, but it sounds like thousands of chimes going together. It's like a sparkling sound that's also gentle and pure and full of love. And it's just,
Wow.
and it kind of falls down like a beautiful, sparkling, beautiful song light.
Beautiful.
And all of that is, if you just imagine you, and I'm talking to you, Treziah, and every person on this call, if you just imagine that sound coming down and just falling around you like a beautiful waterfall of sound and blessing, it's a beautiful angel blessing for you and your life and going forward. So the angels bless you, and I bless you, and I wish you and every single one of you a wonderful life, and may angel blessings be a part of your everyday life.
Oh, Heather, that was so extraordinary. We're so, so blessed to have you here today. I'm sure everybody feels so uplifted and joyful from this experience. I know I feel that way. And we're so grateful and glad that you've come. Thank you. We want to thank Heather for being here, for being that channel, that bridge between the angelic kingdom and this world. What a gift that is that you're sharing for the world. And we want to say thank you. Thank you, Heather. So, so, so
Thank
much
you
from
so
our
much for
deepest
having
heart.
me.
Oh,
Oh.
it's our joy. So let's do this again soon, my dear.
Yeah, let's. I would absolutely love that. So many blessings to you, and go well. And yeah, let's do it again soon.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us on the Adventures and Awakening show. I'm Treziah Spring, and wishing you a glorious day.